Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are seeing this Yati Panchakam. In this Yati Panchakam, kaupīnavantaḥ, we have seen first two shlokas. Now we come to the third shloka. dehādibhāvaṃ parimārjayanta ātmānamātmanyavalokayantaḥ nāntaṃ bahiḥ smarantaḥ kaupīnavantaḥ khalu bhāgyavantaḥ dehādibhāvaṃ parimārjayanta ātmānamātmanyavalokayantaḥ nāntaṃ na madhyaṃ na bahiḥ smarantaḥ kaupīnavantaḥ khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. So, dehādibhāvaṃ parimārjayanta. First thing, dehādibhāvaṃ, the identification with body, sense organ, etc. as I. We already saw in the previous text that we have different kinds of identification. We think the body is I. We think the mind is I, the sense organ is I, the prana is I, the intellect is I, the cat is I, the dog is I, the car is I, the phone is I, etc. Right? So we give up the one who has given up all those identifications with a body, etc. Deha adi, etc. means adi means etc. Right? So body, etc. So no bhavam means identification. So he has no identification. How does he do that? Parimārjayanta. Marjayanta means mruju marjane, to clean. Parit means paritah, completely. One who completely cleanses the identification with bodies and organ complex and everything. Okay, and there is no identification with anything else. ātmānamātmanyavalokayantaḥ. ātmānamātmanyavalokayantaḥ. Beautiful. When you see this at face value, there is a error called subject-object contradiction. Kartru karma virodha, we call in Sanskrit. Kartru, karta, subject. Karma. Karma is not action actually. Karma, normally we think it as action. Karma in the sense of Sanskrit and these places is kartru ipsitamam karma. That is how karma is defined. The one which is most desired by the karta, doer, is karma. Not action. Object. Okay. So, subject-object contradiction. The subject itself cannot be the object. The object itself cannot be the subject. So, when you say it, ātmānamātmanyavalokayantaḥ, object, ātmani, subject, in the self, cannot happen. So, we have to understand what this means. ātmānam, the self, there is no change in that. ātmani, in the ātma. In the Atma, this Atma word, as we already in Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta, so in other places also, I keep repeating, Atma is most, in Vedanta, in Shastra, most misinterpreted word. It can be interpreted in any way. Okay, most abused word actually, Atma. You can say Atma, I also take it to a level of Atma can be right from shoe to the absolute. Anything can be Atma here. And I gave the example of that. Give me that. What is that? Book. Give me that. Okay, book. No, not book. Cloth. Give me that. Cloth or book. Not both. Give me a phone. So, the pronoun that, the sarvanama shabda that can mean anything. Similarly, this ātmani, in the Atma can mean anything. So, in the Atma here means in the mind. So, ātmānam, the Atma, the self, in the mind, avalokayantaḥ, one who sees. Local darshane. one who sees. Again, there is a problem. Problem is, we ourselves have negated, the Shruti has very clearly negated, the Atma cannot be perceived through the mind. Because manovacharam, it is not an object for mind and words. Then we say, no, it is not an object of mind which is impure, but we are talking about the Shuddha Antakarana, the pure mind. That is why we need the karmas to purify our mind. The pure mind is nothing but the self. That is why ātmānamātmanyavalokayantaḥ, the self, ātmāni, the self, avalokayantaḥ. Means they don't mistake anything for the self. They see their own self as self. In the sense, there is identification, absolute identification of self itself, without any error. Ātmānam, the absolute self, ātmani, in the individual self, avalokayanta, they see. They don't see the self, absolute self, to be different from the individual self. Okay? Then that means ātmānam, the Brahman, ātmani, in the Atma, Jivatma, the Paramatma, in the Jivatma, avalokayanta, they see. They don't see it to be different. Okay? Na antar, na madhyaṃ, na bahiḥ smarantaḥ. Since they are thinking, they are seeing the self, na smarantaḥ, they don't think about anything. Anything means, what do you want? What do you mean? Na antaḥ, anything inside. Na bahiḥ, anything outside, or anything in between, madhyaṃ. They don't think about anything that is inside, outside, or in between, because this inside, outside, and in between are all creations of mind. They don't see those things. Kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. We also already know this. svānandabhāve parituṣṭimantaḥ, saṃśāntasarvendriyadṛṣṭimantaḥ, aharniśaṃ brahmaṇi ramantaḥ, kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. svānandabhāve parituṣṭimantaḥ, saṃśāntasarvendriyadṛṣṭimantaḥ, aharniśaṃ brahmaṇi ramantaḥ, kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. What do they say? Ye, those, svānandabhāve, swa means once, whatever it can be, Brahman, ananda means bliss. In the Brahman's bliss, bhāve, Brahman's blissful nature. Bhava is swarupa here. Okay, so in the nature, inherent nature of Brahman's bliss, parituṣṭimantaḥ. Tushti means happiness. Pari means paritaha, absolute, completely. So they are completely blissful in the bliss of the inherent nature, which is bliss of the self. Next. saṃśāntasarvendriyadṛṣṭimantaḥ. Saṃśānta, completely pacified. Sarvendriya, all the sense organs, drishti, the mind. The mind and sense organs are completely under control. That is one meaning. Now, the meaning, other important meaning is sarvendriyadṛṣṭimantaḥ, saṃśāntasarvendriyadṛṣṭimantaḥ. It's not the sense organs the one which grasps the object which is controlled, but the drishti, which is the cause for creation, that is also controlled. Understand? There, we said we accept the vada, the technique called drishti vada. You see, the world appears. When you don't see in the deep sleep, in the coma, etc., in the knowledge, you don't, the world does not appear. Right? So, you see the world appears. That is why we gave the example of pinching the baby and cradling the baby, rocking the cradle. Okay? So, that. Or hiding something and searching for it as a playful act. That is what this mind is also doing. It creates the drishṭimantaḥ, it creates the object and indriyas, it goes and captures it. So there is no creation and there is no capturing here. saṃśāntasarvendriyadṛṣṭimantaḥ. But wait, if my drishti, my perception, my mind is what is creating all this, why don't you create anything happy? It can be grief, painful for others. Let it be. I don't care. But at least for me, I should create something happy, right? No, that is not how it works. If you want to understand this, you should have to ask the same question for your dream. If the dream is what I create, then why don't I create a happy dream? Why a dangerous, painful dream comes? You don't ask it because that is out of your control. Similarly, here, this creation is also out of your control, which is because of your vasanas, your thought imprints you create. We say simply karmas. So, the karmas create this world, which is basically your creation. So, the completely pacified perception and completely pacified creation. That is what, meaning they don't have any creation, therefore they don't have any perception of creation also. Aharniśaṃ brahmaṇi ramantaḥ. Aharniśaṃ, day and night. Day. Hora, that is where the word comes from. Hora. Day, night. Nisham. Nisha means night. So, day and night, brahmaṇi ramantaḥ. This is an important thing. Since they have no sense organs activity and no creation activity, then they are completely bored to death. They are like a stone, inert, right? So, for that he says, no, day and night. Day and night is also a way of explaining to you. That is why he starts with day and night. Brahmaṇi ramantaḥ, they enjoy the bliss of Brahman. Brahmaṇi ramantaḥ, they enjoy the Brahman, in the Brahman. Okay? kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ, indeed they are very blissful, very blessed, fortunate. pañcākṣaraṃ pāvanamuccarantaḥ, patiṃ paśūnāṃ hṛdi bhāvayantaḥ, bhikṣāśanā dikṣu paribhramantaḥ, kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. Beautiful. pañcākṣaraṃ pāvanamuccarantaḥ, patiṃ paśūnāṃ hṛdi bhāvayantaḥ, bhikṣāśanā dikṣu paribhramantaḥ, kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. This is normally interpreted, misinterpreted mostly. All these slokas. That is why you have to be very careful about this. Pavanam pañcākṣaraṃ uccarantaḥ. Okay. At the outskirts, when you see it, without any thought, when you see it, pavanam, pure, that which is a purifier. pañcākṣaraṃ, the 5-syllabled, uccarantaḥ, they chant. They chant the 5-syllable, which is a purifier. On the outskirts, meaning without any thought, if you are going to see it, you are going to interpret it in this way. pañcākṣaraṃ means the 5-syllable. 5 syllables means Namah Shivaya. Not Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, because Om, if you add, it becomes 6-syllabled. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, Namah Shivaya is a 5-syllabled. If you add Om, it becomes 6-syllabled. That's a problem. Okay, so pañcākṣaraṃ, this is first problem. If you say pañcākṣaraṃ, if you take literally pañcākṣaraṃ as Namah Shivaya, then only pañcākṣaraṃ is pavanam, purifier, not the other mantras. There will be another problem. Okay, so that is the second problem. Then the third problem is pañcākṣara is the only mantra which they chant, not the other mantras. That is a problem because the sannyasis, their blessing is Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. And when they write the letter, they will be saying Narayana Smritihi. So the Narayana is gone there because pañcākṣaraṃ pāvanamuccarantaḥ. Now, the fourth problem is they chant pañcākṣara. Who are you talking about? kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ, then that is a big contradiction. Why? We are talking about yati, the sannyasi, and where are they taking the name of pancha? Where are they chanting pañcākṣari? Because pañcākṣara is one mantra which they have already, among all the mantras, they have already given up during the sannyasa. During the sannyasa, you renounce all the karmas. You renounce all the karmas and the mantras for the karmas. You don't forget the mantras. Of course, when somebody chants the mantra, you do remember, so you chant along with them. That's not a big deal. But you are not going to use it for any prayoga application. Right? So, that is why in the previous class, I said the sannyasis of some mathas, established centers, the sannyasis with danda, the staff. So they don't accept these others to be sannyasis. Because sannyasa means to renounce. Renounce means to what? Renounce what? The karmas which you have received through the Vedic injunction, renouncing that through the Vedic injunction. That is sannyasa. Now, these people have not received any karma, they have not performed any karma, but they are renouncing what? That is a big question. That is why, after sannyasa, these people line up to get mantras and they want to be part of fire oblation and all that. Idiot. You don't have eligible for fire oblation. You have already renounced that. You don't have eligibility for mantra, but we have to give mantras to these people also. Why? Because they have not done any karma. They need some chitta shuddhi. So they cannot. But don't the sannyasis, dandi sannyasis, don't they have any mantras for chitta shuddhi? Yes, they have. Then that is pranava mantra, omkara. They can chant om alone. None other than sannyasi can chant it alone. That is why we add om with mantras to get that benefit. So this omkara they have to chant 20,000 times per day. That is the only mantra they can chant. Now, since these people have no karma background, they start the karma after sannyasa. So, pañcākṣaraṃ. For them, the pañcākṣara can mean the pañcākṣara, etc., whatever mantras. But when you take it, uccāranta means to chant. The purifier pañcākṣara, they chant to get purified. That is how it should be interpreted. But the problem is, pañcākṣara is not pañcākṣara. It is not the 5-syllabled. Then what? We know there are panchakoshas, 5 sheets, right? So we have to understand panchakoshana madhye ya aksharaha sa pañcākṣaraha. Pancha aksharaha. Koshana madhye is one thing which we add. Madhyamapada lopa samasa we call it. The center portion is dropped. Pañcākṣara. Meaning the 5 inside the 5 sheets, that akshara which remains is called as pañcākṣara. Akshara means naksharati iti akshara, that which is undecayable, undeclinable, indeclinable, that which does not change, that which does not undergo any transformation, that akshara Brahman. So that Brahman which exists in the as though inside the 5 koshas, that pavanam, which is the purifier, pavitram na bhidyate, Bhagavan says there is no purifier other than this. So that uccāranta they chant. That is another problem. Uccārantaḥ cannot be chanting now. Then what? Ut plus charantaḥ, uccārantaḥ. Ut means utkrishtam. Charantaḥ, utkrishtam charantaḥ. Very nicely, beautifully they move in. They move in, they roam around in this absolute self nicely, confidently. Utkrishta, superior. Okay, so that is the meaning of pañcākṣara. Okay, now let us see. What are you going to see? Next mantra, next statement. Hṛdi paśūnāṃ patiṃ bhāvayantaḥ. Paśūnāṃ patiṃ hṛdi bhāvayantaḥ. Paśūnāṃ pati hṛdi bhāvayantaḥ. Hṛdi means in the heart. Bhāvayanta means meditate upon. Meditate upon whom? Paśūnāṃ pati. Paśūnāṃ pati means Shiva. Paśūnāṃ pataye namaha. In Rudra, there is a mantra called Paśūnāṃ pataye namaha. And in among the 12 Jyotirlingas, main centers, there are so many Shiva temples, but out of them, 12 main temples are scattered around India. That is the one in which is in Nepal, the 12th one, that is in Nepal, which is called as Pashupatinath. Pashupati, his name is Pashupati. Pashupati is name of Shiva. Okay, now pañcākṣara is Shiva mantra. Pashupati is Shiva. They meditate upon Shiva and take Shiva's name. It fits very beautifully. But we have interpreted in different way. They roam around beautifully, nicely, being established in that absolute self. Now, in that sense, if you are going to see hṛdi paśūnāṃ patiṃ bhāvayanta, in their heart, paśūnāṃ patiṃ. What is Pashu? Pashu means being, living beings. Jiva. And paśūnāṃ patiṃ, Jiva's Lord. Who is Jiva's Lord? Uttama Purusha, the self. So, the absolute self, hṛdi in their heart, bhāvayantaḥ. Bhāvayantaḥ means they meditate upon. But here, they meditate upon is okay, but here, meditating becomes an activity. So, bhu-sattayam, they are absolutely established in that self in their heart. Bhu-sattayam, to be established, to exist. Okay, so to be established, in that sense, we are accepting it. In their heart, they are nicely established in that absolute self. Okay, now, bhikṣāśanā, dikṣu paribhramantaḥ. Bhikṣāśanā. Bhiksha means in alms. Ashana means eating. They eat whatever they get through alms. We already explained that earlier. Karapatri, hand us the vessel. Okay. Now here, bhikṣāśanā, though directly means they take whatever comes according to their prarabdha, then there also becomes this contradiction, because whatever comes in bhiksha, you have to accept. That's a rule. So whatever accepts means they already planned this idea on the students, on the disciples, and some sannyasis go and eat in the house. They go to the houses for eating non-vegetarian fish, because they have been from birth they are habituated to eating fish. They can't give up, so they go. What is that sannyasa? And in some Buddhist monasteries, they have the table where you can place whatever food you want to give them. So this idea is already planted. They bring beef and all. So since it has come for us bhiksha, you cannot throw it. You have to eat it. So this is not what we are saying. Bhikṣāśanā means they eat whatever comes in their arms. That is, and that's the outside. But the inside is a bhikṣāśanā. They don't own anything. Whatever comes means they don't own anything. Okay, not even the begging bowl. So what do you want to talk about? They don't owe anything. That is what is the idea of bhikṣāśanā. And dikṣu paribhramantaḥ. Dikṣu in the directions. Dik means direction. Su, plural. In all the directions, paribhramantaḥ. Paritaḥ, completely. Brahmantaḥ, they roam around. They roam around in all the directions. They roam around in all the directions means, how can you roam around at the same time in all directions? Okay, I go here once and I go there once. That is okay. So, dikṣu paribhramantaḥ means dishe paribhramantaḥ, sarva dishe paribhramantaḥ. That is one broader meaning. But here, this is to establish what is self. Self is omnipresent. Dikṣu in all the directions. Paribhramantaḥ, they roam around. They are completely roaming around. Meaning they are well established in all the directions, meaning they are omnipresent. Self is omnipresent. Kaupīnavantaḥ, khalu bhāgyavantaḥ. So these kind of people who are renunciates, they are very fortunate and they are very blessed. Okay, we'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.